So what's going on with MetaZoo, guys? I know it's been a minute since I made any new videos. I've just been sitting back waiting to see what was going to happen ever since Mike Waddell surfaced online several weeks back, pretending like he's the hero, saying he wants to get all the debtors paid off and he wants to get MetaZoo back on its feet. I mean, it sounded wonderful at the time, but to me, I think he's just here to screw us over one last time, right? To get us for one final take, because I just don't think we can trust this guy. The problem is, I don't know if we could trust any of these motherfuckers, to be completely honest, because Turmentic just did an interview with Shaw several weeks ago, and he was saying some pretty crazy stuff as well. Like, apparently they recently had a buyer for MetaZoo, but Mike and Aoki were demanding more money in the contract, and they weren't willing to pay it, so they backed out. Mike is claiming it wasn't true, and he showed us screenshots to prove it. Then Shaw came back and said he didn't even get paid his last couple paychecks, and Mike said he did, and he showed us a screenshot to prove that. So apparently Shaw's full of shit too, and we can't trust anything he has to say. So I'm not sure who we can trust. Aoki's just MIA, doesn't give a flying fuck about MetaZoo, only cares about Hiroquest. Andy's just Mr. Deniability. Nobody wants to put any blame on him. When we ask about him to Mike, he says he didn't do anything wrong, which just blows my mind because, according to a lot of the artists themselves, when he started dating Afton, he was screwing them out of work, to the point where they couldn't even afford their bills, and they had to quit MetaZoo. So how's that not doing anything wrong, Mike Waddell? That's very concerning if that's the way he thinks. And it makes me wonder if he can believe anything he has to say. Because everybody's just throwing each other under the bus right now. Nobody wants to take any blame or hold any accountability. Just a bunch of half-truths and full lies that are being spread around, and I've just been trying to get to the bottom of it, and so far I've had no luck. Then Mike starts pointing fingers at other people, claiming they've been selling off all these grail cards and stuff that were never meant to hit the market. And it's like, bro, this has been happening since the very beginning. Nick showed us screenshots of you talking to a potential investor saying you're going to piece out 2.5% of your vault every single quarter. So you were doing this stuff yourself. This isn't anything new. I feel like MetaZoo never had any morals or ethics, in my personal opinion. All kinds of cards have been hitting the market the last few years that shouldn't have been, and I even did that series of videos on that whole C2E2 situation, where you guys are trying to sell off your event promos to your partners. Just absolutely disgusting stuff. And I recently found out from Argos that it was my video that got Mike to take that stuff down, so maybe he finally had a change of heart, and he realized that's not how you run a company. I mean, I always held him up to a very high standard, and he just didn't agree. It didn't make any sense to me, but I feel like he's only doing this now because it's in his best interest. Now that he's not part of the company, it's very easy to point fingers at other people and blame them for doing something you were doing the whole time. But I digress. Then we find out that they apparently arrested, or at least escorted someone out of Golden, because he's been selling off all these grail cards, like the prototype Mothman that popped up on Facebook several weeks ago. And when I found out about this, I got really excited because I want them to clear house, get rid of all these bad actors. But then like a day or two later, some screenshots and text messages surfaced, apparently coming from that very individual, claiming that the whole thing was a sham and that he was being framed, and that Shaw's the one that's been selling off all these cards the whole time. And a lot of people have been speculating for quite a while that Max TCG on TCG Player was Shaw. So maybe this guy's telling the truth. I don't know if we can trust him, trust Shaw. I feel like Mike was lied to because he thought this guy got arrested as well. I mean, they showed us a picture of cops outside the building and made it seem like he was getting arrested, but apparently they were there for a different reason. I don't know what to believe. I mean, if that's the case, that's pretty fucked up. If Shaw was actually lying and pinning it on this guy, I wouldn't put it past him, but that'd be really messed up. And I just feel like every day we're finding out something new that conflicts with something we were told previously. It's absolute chaos out here in these MetaZoo streets. Then we found out several weeks ago that they were trying to raise $20,000 to get a lawyer on retainer so they can crack open the books and get a hold of the product so they can liquidate it and pay off all the debtors. And it's like, how does Mike not have $20,000? He just showed us a screenshot of him donating $500,000 of his own money into this company last year, and unless the guy's an absolute idiot, he's not going to donate like half his bank account. It's going to be a very small percentage, right? And if a very small percentage is 500 grand, then this guy must be a multimillionaire. This is why I speculated in the past, if this ultimately was a pump and dump, he probably has some kind of offshore account with millions of dollars in it, because he's not going to keep that in some kind of American bank account where it could be frozen and seized, right? It's going to be some kind of crypto account, or it's going to be some kind of offshore account or something. I mean, I was just speculating. I don't have any proof of that, but That's kind of how I felt, but apparently now he's flat broke. He doesn't have any money. It doesn't make any sense. Where did all that money go from then till now? Like, it just doesn't add up, but that's what they're trying to claim. I got to give props to Bailey, though, because he came up with this idea to sell off the artwork to raise the funds. And a lot of people claim that Mike didn't have the right to sell the artwork. And the fact that the artists weren't getting any of the money, people were upset about that. But I got to give him props because I understand it's in his best interest. He still owns a lot of MetaZoo, but he was willing to help. And he came up and he organized this whole thing. And at least in that initial stream, they raised $31,000, which blew my mind. Some of those pieces were selling for $600 to $700 a pop, and I didn't think anyone's going to spend that kind of money in MetaZoo in 2024. So congrats on that. You know what I mean? And the rest of the funds are supposed to go to the debtors. They took the 20 grand. They got the lawyer. Some people are claiming that the lawyer's going to be used for bad and not for good because apparently Mike is in some kind of legal battle with Aoki, and he needed the lawyer for that. Other people are claiming that he used us to fund the lawyer so it could be used against us because Mike's been doing shady stuff. Mike says he wants to get the books cracked open to prove that nothing shady here was happening, but I just find it very hard to believe. I think we all can agree at the very least that this company was ran terribly. Because if you recall, at the end of December of 2022, they said they were en route to make $50 million in revenue. Now that's not profit, but that's still a lot of money. And here we are a year later and they're filing for bankruptcy. So where did all that money go, Mike Waddell? That's what I want to get to the bottom of. And maybe they botched a lot of these collabs and shit just never happened and never came to fruition. There's theories about that. I mean, that could take a lot of your funds, but I just want to get to the bottom of this because it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to have all that money at that point, and here we are like a year later and it just went poof. It just, the ultimate magic trick. It just doesn't make any sense. Just, you have no right to run a business if that's how you're running. It just doesn't make any sense, but I don't know. Then they ran some more streams and they were supposed to take that money, like I said, and give it to the debtors, but Bailey was saying he couldn't pay them directly, so people are speculating where that money was going to go to, you know. And then this whole thing popped up where Golden apparently put a lien on product they were sitting on, and this was a big story for a while as well. They were saying that MetaZoo had to pay them $56,000 or they were going to auction off all these pallets. And this is pallets and pallets and pallets of stuff, and Nick was mentioning this would have been terrible for MetaZoo because they wouldn't have got any of that money. And some of the stuff that was going to go up for auction was like the skateboards. And that's what really pissed me off because those skateboards were meant for redemptions. So that means anyone that redeemed their skateboards aren't going to get them. And any of the skateboards that weren't redeemed were going to hit the market, which ruins the collectability. I guess people don't give a shit anymore because the company's defunct, but it's pretty fucked up, man. No morals or ethics, like I say. And I feel like even if MetaZoo got a hold of that stuff, they would still auction off that stuff and still liquidate it. So it just fucks everybody over. Nick was talking about how he was thinking about buying the pallets, but he had no way to actually get them to his house and to store them. But if he would have, he could have took those skateboards and made sure they went to the proper hands. And I just don't trust it in anyone else's hands, unfortunately. So that was really bad news. But that's not going to happen now because they actually filed for bankruptcy, but it's Chapter 7 bankruptcy, not Chapter 11. So that means none of the debtors are going to get paid off, which just fucking sucks. I mean, some people are looking at this as a win because Mike did say he's going to get this into bankruptcy, which he did do, but it kind of makes it feel like they took the money and they ran because that money's not going to go to anybody. They're just taking the company and they're dumping it in the ground and just running away. I mean, it kind of fucking sucks. I mean, yeah, maybe someone will pick it up now that it's in bankruptcy and they don't have to pay off all that debt, but it just kind of sucks for everybody else, man, because there's a lot of people that are owed a lot of money and unfortunately, they're probably never going to see it. I mean, the trustee's going to get the shit now and they're going to try to piece it out there, but I don't know. Who knows who's going to get paid, you know what? People are making claims right now, and I hope they get their money, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I don't know what the future of MetaZoo holds. You know, I could sit here and say that I hope it, comes back, somebody picks us up and, reboots it, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in it. I got more faith now than I did, but I don't have a lot of faith in it. But I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, do you think we can trust Mike? Do you think he actually did what he said he was going to do? Is he here to help, or is he here just to take us for, one more ride and to run away and sail off into the sunset with everybody's cash? I mean, is that what he's trying to do? He says he wants to release a tell-all. He claims that there's one person within MetaZoo that's basically been the villain the whole time. Nick has a theory that that person is Aoki. And I honestly agree with him because Aoki owns half this company and doesn't give a flying fuck about it. So it really wouldn't surprise me if he was the one who's kind of been screwing everybody. It seems like everyone's butting heads within the company, even Shaw himself right now. That's why he's been dumping a lot of the product into his dumpsters. Everyone's just kind of bumping heads right now. There's a lot of inner conflict within MetaZoo. So I don't know who to blame. I mean, obviously they all took part. They all, took a part in running this into the fucking ground, but I don't know. Just absolute chaos out here. But I just figured I'd make a video to kind of, get everyone up to speed if people haven't been paying attention, and, just to talk about my feelings on the whole thing. All we can really do is just sit back and wait, see what happens. It sucks. I'm tired of waiting, but that's really our only course of action at this point in time. So I guess in time, we'll know.
I'm just tired of waiting.
You made that whole story up. You calling me a liar?
I ain't calling you a truther. All right, boys.